Hello and welcome to Farming Simulator 19 Field Yield Test. Now in this video we're going to go through we're going to try two fields, and I just want to move him because he's going to run into, he might just get by, but he's missed that bit there as well. Right, anyway, as I was saying, we are doing a field yield test. Now, this is just to determine what you're getting off a field and what difference it makes when you add fertiliser, ploughing, lime. So what we're going to do is we're going to do quite a few tests on both fields. Now, this one is in wheat. I've used wheat because it's quite a high yield crop. And the other one over there we're using is going to be canola. Now I didn't want to do all the crops as there's, you know, a good 10-12 to do, and that's a hell of a lot of time, where in the day, as long as they're all going to be pretty similar, I can't see it's going to make a big difference on crop. That's why I thought I'd do canola and the wheat. So this guy isn't finished. Right, so I can leave him to finish that. Right, so we're looking at fields 25 and 26. And the reason I'm using 25 and 26 is we go into the menu, and these fields currently need ploughing. So if they need ploughing, that means they need lime, because the lime will show up after it's been ploughed. So for the first one, this is the base. Why has he stopped? So the yield we get off this first field, now this field hasn't had any fertiliser, it needs ploughing, it hasn't had anything basically. So this is the minimum you're going to get off each field. So we see down there for the canola for this field, it's 2,509, and this field was actually cultivated, so it hasn't been ploughed, it was cultivated, then the crop put in. Well, let's just get that out of the way a minute. And then we go and see what wheat we managed to get off that field. And wheat, it's 3,827. Now I did do a test earlier, and I found that if your field is like this one where it needs ploughing, you will get the same yield of it. It won't drop, it'll keep giving you the same yield all the way through. So our next test now is we're going to add fertiliser to this field, and fertiliser should give us a 25% increase if it's all working correctly, because I know before the update it wasn't working properly, it didn't really make much difference. So I'm going to go off and we're going to recultivate, seed, and then we will add fertiliser, and I will be back in a minute. Right, this is the next test where we added fertiliser, and you should get 25%. So at the moment we've got 3,009, which that's working quite well. The other one was 2,500, so it is another 500 more nearly, which is what we want to see. We want to see good results to make it worth doing. And what we've got for wheat is 4,536. I forgot to say I'm saving the game, so I'm going back and redoing the same fields, so they're all exactly the same. So we're going to go and add 2 fertiliser stages, which should give us 50%. So I'll be back in a minute. So that is 2 fertiliser states added, which should give us 50% more. So on the canola, it's 3,479, which has given us an extra, what, just under It's about 470 more. And if we have a look on the wheat, that's 5,243. So that's gone up quite a lot as well. So now what we're going to do is go on to the next one, which we're going to add weeds. I'm going to add the 2 stages of weeds and see what difference that affects to the yield. So I will see you in a minute. Right, so the next one, managed to get weeds in both of these, so it's got full weeds, so we should see a decline. We'll have a look at the menu in a minute. Same with the canola. You see we've got weeds in here as well. So let him finish. I think he's left a little bit at the top there, he has. Right, so this one we did 2 fertiliser states and then we added weeds all the way through. So the canola is 3,372. And the wheat is 4,676. So it has had a decline with the weeds, because it was on 5,243 and then it's gone down to 4,676, but not as dramatic as what they say. Same with the canola, it was at 3,479 and then it went down to 3,372. So we go into the help where it says improved yield. So to obtain 65%, you must do 25%. You get 25% for each fertiliser state, which we showed, but it does show that it's under 50%. You will not get 25% per one. It's more like 20%. And then to avoid a 35% yield malus, you must remove weeds. Otherwise 20% reduction. Well, it isn't a 20% reduction on weeds. So I think for the cost of it, half the time you're probably better off just leave the weeds in, because you're not going to lose that much. Especially if you can get the first set of weeds where you can use the weeder, so it's not going to really cost you anything to do that. So now we're going to move on and we're going to actually plough these 2 fields and see what we get off that. Then we'll follow the same 4 tests and see what's going on. Because the next one we will do a ploughed field with nothing else. Alright, I shall see you back in a minute. Next test was we've ploughed the field now, and on the canola we have 2,551. So we only got an extra, well, it was 50, less than 50 for ploughing, although it said it needed ploughing. I did think you weren't going to get much different on the ploughing, as it doesn't say anywhere about giving you any extra yield for it. It just says you need to do it if the periodic ploughing is turned on. So the yield on the wheat was 4,249 compared to the cultivated one. That was 3,827. So it is, we have got a little bit more on the wheat, quite a lot more on the wheat. Right, so we will try that test now. Well, go into the menu a minute. Let me show you on the map where you can see now both fields don't need ploughing. There was that little bit of red on the just on the top there. I couldn't get rid of that for some reason. So we take the ploughing and they both need lime now. Turn it on, turn it off. So we're going to try it again with the lime, because in here, where does it say about it? There, spread lime every 3 harvests and you will gain 15%. So on top of what we've had now, we should get another 15%, which isn't a huge amount, but we'll see if that's working. So I will go and reset this, and we will add lime to that field and see what we're getting off there. Alright, back in a minute. Right, so that's the canola finished. Now this one was ploughed and limed, and on this one it's 2,832, which is another 250 or so more on the canola, so that's not bad at all. At least it does work. There's nothing worse than putting lime in and ploughing if you don't need to, but it does show a difference. Now I did do a little test earlier on this other field, which I did want to include, but it wouldn't go back to needing ploughing again, and I found that every time you ploughed after putting a crop in, then you would get more each time rather than cultivated. So I know it does take longer, but you do get a little bit more. Right, so the wheat for that with lime and ploughed is 4,242. I don't know why, but for some reason that one was a little bit less with lime. There must have been a glitch, something was done differently there. Right, so not a lot we can do about that, so we will now move on to fertiliser state. We're going to add a fertiliser state to it, and we should be getting an extra 25%. So I'll go and do that back in a minute. So that's those harvested. Now this is one fertiliser state, ploughed, limed, and on the canola, it's hard to see, let's get it in the black there, is 3301. So that is up a little bit. We'll go through it at the end to see how much it really is, but it's not 25% what they claim it is. And on the wheat it's 4960, which again, that is up a lot more. I suppose it's because wheat is, you get a lot more yield off wheat, so that's why it's going up a lot more than the canola. So now we need to do the 2 fertiliser stages, so I'll be back in a minute. So that's the next one, just about finished. This is with 2 fertiliser states added, and we are getting 3,773. And on to the wheat, and the wheat we are getting 5,668. So it is a big, well, not a huge increase, but it is an increase. Not 25% though, it's more on about just over 20%, if that. So the last one we've got to do now is to use the fertiliser states, all the lime, all the ploughing, and actually put weeds in and see how much these figures we've just got, these should drop. Remove bad weeds, otherwise 20%. But that doesn't seem, I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't think you're going to lose 20%, but we will find out. So I will see you back for the last one, and then we can have a look at some figures and see how this works out. Back in a minute. So that's the canola, and it's 3,100 100 flat completely. And we go over to the straw. I keep saying straw, it's because straw's coming out the back. Over to the wheat, and that is 4,394. So on the wheat it did drop quite dramatically actually with the as compared to the canola. Yeah, it did. We lost about a third of it. So breaking all that down, it seems to show that your fertiliser states aren't giving you 25% each. They're more like giving you the second state gives you about 18.5%, and the other one's around the 20%, so you're getting just under 40% instead of 50, but it's well worth doing anyway. And your weeds, that's the one thing what's going to knock you. On the canola it didn't knock that much of the crop, but on the wheat it did. So if you don't want to mess around with weeds, turn them off, because they are going to impact your crop quite hard. Because it said it was 20%, and that's more on sort of 30+% really. So you've got to be careful with the weeds. So all in all, with the extra ploughing and liming, which it does give you the, was it the 15%? It will give you a little bit more, but if you've got periodic ploughing and lime turned off, then it won't make any difference anyway. So if you're not using that, it doesn't matter. Just keep doing what you're doing. The thing is, to get even more of a crop, you've always got to plough your field before you put any new crop in there. We didn't test to see about doing the root crops. We'll save that for another time, because that's when it says that you need to plough. So that was a lot of number crunching, but we got there in the end. So it is worth doing all of the fertiliser states, and make sure you do plough every now and again, because it is going to give you extra yield. Okay, well thanks for watching, and don't forget to check out my other videos, and if you've found this useful, then please leave a like. And if you want to see more content, then hit that subscribe button. Okay, till next time, goodbye.